Hi.
Hi, Paul. How
How
are
you
you?
how you doing, Christine?
I'm
Nice to
doing
see you.
well, thanks.
Nice to see you.
You too. How's your pickleball?
Uh, I didn't play today. I'm gonna play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No,
Getting
it's
lots of
no.
pressure to start something up north.
I know. I'd like to do it. I think we can do it. We have enough players. We have 1,800 members in Cranberry,
Wow.
so the passion is there for the game. I just need to see if enough Parkinson's patients will participate. So we'll
You
see.
know, we are moving our offices up to the RLA Center in Cranberry Woods.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know where that's at.
So
Yeah.
that should happen later this month. And
Oh wow.
they told us that there would be no problem in just setting up pop-up uh, courts in their parking lot and
Oh,
encouraging people to come and play along with people from the building.
oh, the Regional Learning Center, the Regional
Yep,
Learning Alliance, they'll
yep,
put courts there in the parking lot.
exactly.
Wow, that's great.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, yeah. I know the Cranberry Township supervisors very well, and the one guy, Bruce Mazzoni, he runs Pickleball Association, Cranberry Township Pickleball Association. So uh, he said that if you want to set up a tournament, we can make something happen, especially in the dome. We have a new dome with 6 courts. So it's
Oh,
always
that's
and then
great to hear.
we have 19 courts, so it can happen. It can happen if you want to put together like a regional, um, Middle Atlantic tournament, some of that nature. Cranberry can host it, so they host quite a bit of big tournaments, national tournaments. So
Right.
I think it'll work.
Gloria's coming in.
Okay.
Jim, I see that you're still connecting to audio. I don't know if you can hear us or not. Hi, Gloria.
Hi,
I'm Christine Haythorne.
nice to meet you, Christine.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts, and they are kind enough to let me run a Zoom call from here.
Yeah, I have a Boston cream donut when you get a chance. That's my favorite. I wish I was sitting in Dunkin' Donuts right now.
I got
How's it going at Westminster, Paul?
It's going well. They have a new instructor down there. I don't know if did you get to meet
Did
her?
hear that? Yep.
Yeah, she's really good. She's a 4 or 5 player, and she knows the game inside and out. She's in those patients down there in very good hands with her. She's really
Oh,
good.
good. That's such a good thing to hear.
Yeah.
I think it could be so huge for our group. So,
Oh, I think so. I think so. She plays in tournaments down in Florida, so she's really good.
oh wow.
Sorry for the interruption. Is everybody going to make it today?
I think so. I actually added a new person. I had lunch today with a friend of mine who her name is Sally Minnock, and she was diagnosed only just maybe 6 months ago with PD. And I told her about this, and Dick was kind enough to allow her to join the group. So she should be coming. I'm surprised Dick isn't here yet. There's Jim Steele.
Hello, Christine. do it even if you get both of it. You know. Yeah, if you can line it up with the outside. Okay, but I mean, make it parallel to the outside, it would be a lot easier. Yeah.
Is everybody pretty newly diagnosed or?
I don't think so, no.
2016 for me, Gloria.
I think Dick is 2021.
I had a hard time getting in to see a neurologist after we suspected it. So it was around 2021, the end of the year.
Who do
And
you see, Gloria?
now I'm seeing, well, I don't know. I'm Dr. Leckleitler. I have to move to him because Dr. Blazer is shutting down that part of her practice, I guess.
I have a suggestion for you.
Good.
We just met with a truly wonderful movement disorder specialist who is either based out of Greensburg, Latrobe.
Wow.
Where do you live?
I live north of the city, about half an hour drive if there's no traffic, in Freeport, Pennsylvania, up the Allegheny.
Okay. Is Butler closer to you?
It is.
Okay, well, there's an ex-UPMC movement disorder specialist who just went to Butler Hospital. And he's so good that UPMC is still referring to him, which says an awful lot.
Yeah.
His name is Dr. Gibb. Gibb.
Okay.
Okay,
There's Dick.
here I am.
We can start now.
May we?
Donna, thank you for your message about how to manage the list.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that was, we all got the Zoom link. Good to see everybody.
I think we're still waiting for Evie and Sally, is that right?
Yeah, and Tim, Ed. Yeah, Tim and Ed.
Ed looks like he's on, but just not showing the video.
Yeah. Or his voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi,
Hi.
Vicki.
Hi. We spent 7 hours in the emergency room yesterday after a fall, so we're just recovering, but we're back. We're going to fight this thing.
Perfect time for trying a new therapy then, right?
Yep. Well, she had, I don't know if anybody else on this list has DBS. Does anybody else have DBS? No. That's good. It's an experiment. But yeah, so we have DBS, but we're ready to try B1 too. We've just got reprogrammed, and sometimes when they reprogram DBS, you're at higher risk for falls because it just changes your balance.
Huh.
You guys were really at the bleeding edge of DBS, weren't you? When you got it.
Yeah, Vicki had it in 2010, and Medtronics was the only player then.
Right.
And you know what's interesting in Pittsburgh? It seems like the movement disorder centers have abandoned Medtronics and gone with Boston Scientific now.
Yeah, it's a bone of contention for me because I am looking for ways to educate our community about the options, and everyone has different priorities. You know, some people live in very remote areas and it's difficult to get to programming. So maybe an Abbott device would be better for them. And we just don't even give people a choice. Our surgeons are just doing Boston Scientific, and I think it's unfair to our population. And
Yep.
they may be the very best. I don't know, but
Yeah, I have a long history with DBS studying it, and I'm an electrical engineer. Doctors don't understand electricity too well.
right.
But anyway, okay.
So still waiting on Tim? Evie? I think Evie said she might be a little bit late.
Can I just ask how many have gotten the B1 therapy book and have read it? This book?
Just came.
Vicki read the book, but I haven't, and it's been a while since she read it. And we've been waiting on this DBS programming to start it. But I just, this is like the Bible, right? And Christine, the other thing is, I found on Facebook. Do any of you have Facebook accounts?
Oh, yes.
And this author has created a B1 Parkinson's B1 therapy webpage. And I don't know, Christine, if I could share my screen, I could show you guys that page. I don't know how to do that. You'd have to
I do. Hold on.
Has anybody found that page on Facebook?
Yes.
Other than me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you know about, I don't know if others would be interested, but
Well, there's also a website dedicated to the B1 therapy that this other doctor put together with her help. And I've got that link, and I want to forward it to everybody after this discussion.
okay. And do you know the name of that doctor, Dick? Is it the same one that's on her Facebook page? There's another doctor on her Facebook page.
It's Sergio.
Right. Okay. He's on the Facebook
Yeah,
page too.
he's got his own YouTube channel, and he's got a whole lot of good stuff on the B1 therapy on it.
So there's that website, and then there's the Facebook page that
Right.
people are all sharing information, and we can take advantage of both of those. That would be
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
Do you know how I share my screen, Christine? Let me see.
I made you a co-host. So it depends on what you're using, but at the
Here it is.
bottom, you should see a share screen in green.
Yeah, let me see if I can do it. Okay, let me get this up. Okay.
And then you have to click on your Facebook page.
Okay, let me see. Share screen. Let's see if I can do it.
Everything you have open will show up on your screen, and then you just need to click on Facebook.
So can everybody see this?
We
Yep.
got it.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
this is Parkinson. It's a group called Parkinson's B1 Therapy. And this is their entrance into the group. And under they have these tab items down here where my cursor's pointing. And they show discussion guides, featured members, events, media, and files. And under discussion, this is coming up on your general feed. You'll see what they're talking about, different questions that they have. And usually Daphne and Sergio answer the questions for them,
Yeah.
And then under the guides, under guides, you'll see the welcome page and what to do before you start B1. And then they have links to books and articles, and they have links to interviews with Dr. Constantine's, who developed this therapy, head nurse, and they have all these YouTube links too, and 6 more. And then they have success stories. So people are sharing their success stories with B1, and there's like 25 more. And as you can see, the members of this group it expands our reach. How many members do they have? Members. It's slow because I'm gonna. I don't know what's going on, but okay.
Well, Dick, I am recording this.
8521.
Pardon me?
And-
Did you
8521 members I see at the bottom of my screen.
8,525 members. Yeah, so there it is. Yeah, members. So there's a lot of people that are doing this, and we can all share information. So it went global with this website. So it's pretty good information. But it's good that we're doing it local too. So that'll be great. Okay, so how do I get out of this? I'll get out of this, and I just wanted to share that information.
Well, I just want to make sure that everyone is aware we are recording this. So anyone who is unable to make this, who would like to see it, I'm happy to send it along. And before I turn it over to Dick, I just want to thank everyone for being flexible on the time. I'm sitting at a Dunkin' Donuts near a funeral home I have to go to, so I really, really appreciate it. Dick, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, I've lost most of the screen here. All I see is myself, Christine, and Donna.
Okay,
Right, you should be seeing,
I'm gonna get off.
you should be
this
seeing Donna's
shared screen. Yeah,
shared
let me get
screen.
off that.
So when she stops sharing, everybody will come back.
At the top of your page, you should see it stop sharing.
I'm not. You're
You're looking
Mine's
at
at the
your
bottom.
Oh,
Facebook
there
page
you go.
now.
Okay,
Go
thanks.
back to your Zoom page, maybe. If you don't
Yeah,
see
you
a stop
may have
sharing,
to minimize your Facebook page. There you go.
there you go. That worked. Did that fix it for you, Dick?
Yeah, now we got a problem with Tim though. I want to see. He didn't get the email. His email address is different than the one I got from you, Christine.
Okay, I can invite him if you give me the email address.
Okay, it's tdcar, CARR 2, number 2, at hotmail.com. That's a capital T.
And it's T as in Tom, D as in dog.
Yeah, with a capital T.
Okay. Tell him to look for an email from me.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yep. Okay. I'm letting him know that you're trying to get it to him. Yeah, again, thanks for giving some time this afternoon for this little endeavor. A couple of weeks ago, we had the initial Zoom meeting on it with the Van Laars involved with that on Friday. And so I don't remember who all was there, who all participated in that Zoom meeting, but I want to go back to the very beginning as to how this whole thing started. And I'm the first to admit that I'm a YouTube junkie. I spend most of my evenings watching YouTube. I watch stuff on bicycling, cycling, strength training, and Parkinson's. I tried to read something and watch something at least once a day on Parkinson's. I'm a big believer that knowledge is one of the best weapons we can have when we're fighting something that is kind of the unknown. And late last winter, early spring, that video popped up that I sent. Hopefully, I've sent that to all of you. You've seen it, where Daphne's being interviewed by the Overton guy, who's that nutritionist who's a big fan of vitamin B1. And I was intrigued with that. I have been a champion for vitamin therapy for all sorts of different things for probably the last 50 years, and it's been a part of my regimen for that period of time. And so I was intrigued with this B1 thing, so I watched more of it and did some reading on it. and decided to give it a try. I spoke with Dr. Licklider, and he said, by all means, go ahead of it. He was familiar with it, but reluctant to make any sort of recommendations on it to anybody because of the lack of a clinical study. So I started it first week of April this past April, and started out at 500 milligrams, what I thought was 500 milligrams, but I didn't read the label properly on the bottle of vitamin B1, and when I sent that link for that particular type of vitamin to Jim, he said, "Did you know that those are only 250 milligrams per tablet?" So I said, "Well, okay." Anyways, I started out at 250 milligrams back in early April, and made a lot of mistakes. I wasn't paying attention to what Daphne had to say in her book about how to approach this. And the biggest mistake I made was that I got greedy. I was in a hurry. I was increasing my dosage by 1 tablet every 2 weeks. I was just keeping random notes in a diary and not really paying attention to it. But I eventually continued with it, and started noticing some changes in the way I was moving, changes in the way I was feeling. They were very subtle, which is what she drives home in her book. My wife noticed it first. She said, "You're moving a lot better. You're more fluid. You're walking smoother. You're walking faster," which I said, I feel that way too. I started to notice that I recovered some dexterity in my left hand. I was able to type emails again. I was able to, I know I use a heart rate monitor when I'm working out, and I had to replace the battery on the chest strap. And that's hard enough to do for a healthy person, but if you've got a little bit of shakes, and Jim, you got these little tiny screws with a funny screwdriver, like a watch, back of a watch. I had taken the plate off and replaced the battery, and I said, I just did that. I said, I couldn't have done that if I hadn't, I wouldn't have never thought I could do that. And other things that I noticed that were improving. I was able to use my left hand to do things around the house that I hadn't been able to do. But the thing that I noticed the most for me was that I had just a general improved feeling of well-being. I just felt better all over, from head to toe. I didn't have as many aches and pains. I didn't have the rigidity that I normally would have. I was recovering faster from my workouts. And I said, this stuff is working. And I continued to increase my dosage. Again, like I said, I was greedy. One of the weaknesses I have in my life is that I always consider more is better. And well, I found out that more is not better, and woke up one morning and trying to think. I put the date down here. I woke up one morning in September, and I had no energy. I could hardly go up and down the steps. And I started to get some jitters and shakes, and my good feeling of well-being was gone. And so I realized that I had passed my sweet spot, and I had OD'd on it. So I quit cold turkey and stopped taking any B1 at all, other than what's in my multiple vitamin or a B complex. And I continued to feel worse. And I said, boy, this B1 therapy really worked, because I can't believe how bad I feel. So about 8 weeks ago, I started up again at a much slower pace. And I'm increasing it once every 4 weeks. And right now I'm at 1.25 grams of the vitamin B1 HCl, which is the hydrochloride one, which is the most readily available, and the oral one. And within the last week or so, I'm starting to notice some improvement. Again, more improved dexterity in my left hand. I'm moving a little bit better. But I plan to keep on increasing it and hold it there for 1 month. So, and I mentioned this to Dr. Licklider, and he said, well, keep it up. And then I also mentioned it to my primary care physician during my annual physical, or 6-month physical. And he's known me for 30 years. We're good friends. And I shared with him that, it's not likely that this would ever be endorsed by, the medical side of it until there's been a comprehensive clinical study done on it. And I said, the drug companies aren't going to put up the money to do that because this is competition for them. They don't want vitamins to work because they can't patent them, they can't copyright them, and they can't put them on a prescription basis. It's, that's the beauty of vitamin Bs. Vitamin B1 is that you can buy it just about any place. And so when I was talking to my PCP about this, he said, well, I might have a friend who would be interested in funding a clinical research study for you. This gentleman, I'm not going to name him yet, but he has a lot of money. And he's not a big fan of big pharma. And he is, looking at other alternatives to help people and use the money that he's earned over his career. So I thought about that, and I said, I alone can't go to this guy and say, here's my story. I'm feeling better because I took vitamin B1. Will you open up your checkbook and pay for a clinical study? And so I decided that we needed to get a bigger test group put together. I mentioned that to Christine several weeks ago, and she immediately jumped all over it and said that she can find me people to be part of this test group, which leads us to where we're at here this afternoon. So I'm pleased we've got a really good turnout, good positive feedback from all of you. I know that some of you, like you said, you have bought the book already. Some of you have already started taking vitamin B1. Which is great. So that's where we're at here right now. We're just getting started. And I'm looking forward to working with you over the coming weeks. So that's what got us to where we're at right now. So what I want to do now, because this is kind of the second go around for many of us, is questions. What questions do you have at this point in time? It might be easier to answer those questions versus me just keep on talking. So just fire away if you've got some questions about it. Jim is raising his hand.
Yeah, I forget what I was going to say now. It was going to be something brilliant, but should we hold off on starting it until we get the official head nod from you then in the first part of the year? Or
yeah, I was concerned about starting at this time of year because of all the distractions with traveling and visiting and everything that goes along with Christmas and the New Year. So my plan is to have a kickoff starting in mid-January. I kind of picked the date of the 15th. My hope would be we would have at least one more of these conversations before the 15th. But to kick it off on the 15th. Now I've restarted it again. I'm currently 8 weeks into it. I think a couple of you have been taking vitamin B1 for a while, but that's fine. But I think I'm looking forward to an official start, and maybe we can get some more people involved. Would be in mid-January. Chris, does that answer your question, Jim?
yes, thank you.
And Christine is waving at me.
Yeah, I wanted to let people know that I will be creating an Excel spreadsheet that I will share with all of you. And I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with Excel, but I can help you walk through it. But basically, each sheet within the spreadsheet will deal with a different symptom. And what Dick proposed is that every day when you start, you stay on a med for 1 month, and by date, describe how you are feeling with that symptom. And you get to pick the symptoms that are most important to you that you're tracking. So if you want to, I'll put starter names on the sheets, things like fatigue or sleeping or stiffness, tremor, I'll put the initial names on, but you can feel free to change the name of the sheet if there's something else that you want to be tracking. But if you collect all that data, then we can create charts for you that enable you to see the trend line of what's happening as you increase your dosage. And And then we can also do a collective chart, combine everyone's data. And, when Dick potentially meets with this funder, I think we can show, I know this isn't a formal research group. It's not a double-blind study. We're not doing any of the things that a typical researcher would do, but there is some raw data that I expect to be pretty compelling. So I should get that spreadsheet to you by the end of the month.
Yeah, that keeping track of how we're feeling and how we're progressing is vitally important. And that's one thing I didn't do. And what Christine is talking about would help us in that process. I believe I forwarded all of you the United Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale. I have shared that with a friend of mine who is a neurological physical therapist. And I haven't gotten back to her since I sent that to her, or the video that Daphne and Elliot did. But I asked her if she would be willing to work with us and perform one-on-one evaluations with each and every one of us at the start of the program and at the end of the program, and maybe midway between it, using the United Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale as a monitor for us. One thing she did say, though, was that it'd be hard for us to get from our physicians, it'd be hard for us to get a prescription, because physical therapists' prescriptions rely upon treatment, not just evaluation. But I want to get back with her here this week and see what she thinks how she might be able to help us with that exercise. Because that's really, really important that when we finish this up, if we ever do finish it up, because this is an ongoing, therapy. But when we, maybe get towards the springtime, we can collect everything and start, talking to somebody about putting up the funds for the study. So please review that sheet, the United Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale. And if there's any input that you would want to share with Christine or myself about, the evaluation process, that'd be great. So any other questions?
I just want to bring up that, the United Parkinson's rating scale has been shown that it can't really prove a lot because it's not seeing everything. And another tool that we have available is called Stride PD that records your performance. And it would be more accurate for us to do and maybe easier to do than keeping this daily log, because it gets really cumbersome. I've been keeping daily logs for Vicky for 3 years now, and nobody wants to review them, because it's too much information, where this is graph for you. And I don't know if we can integrate that tool rather than using that scale, or use both. But I just brought that up as an idea because I read a lot of studies that on the Parkinson's research page that says that really isn't collecting enough data to prove things, that it's working.
What is the name of that again, Donna?
It's called Stride PD by the company, I think, is called Rue. I can get back to you, Dick. I can send you the link for that.
Is it called Stride, like STRIDE?
Right.
Yep.
Stride.
And I can tell you that they will give you a device to wear to help you collect data. And the information that's collected on the Stride can be downloaded at your physician's office so that they can see real time how you've done on a daily basis.
That might be good then. Yeah, if you can send me something on that. If you're familiar with it, Christine, we should probably talk about it.
The other thing that I found, Christine, though, is Stride wants to know which neurologist in the area would be willing to look at that information. So far, our neurologist, Dr. Susky at UPMC, doesn't want to use it. So I don't know if that would inhibit us, because maybe Dr. Licklider would.
I've already asked him if he would like to be involved in this study at work right now. He said he would like to be, but doesn't think he should.
But
Because he
yeah,
doesn't
I have
want
a
it to appear,
doctor I can get.
because he doesn't want it to appear to be an endorsement of the yet until something's been proven and the clinical study has been done, which I understand.
I mean, not involved in the B1 therapy, but involved in that we start using Stride, because we need a doctor's endorsement to get the Stride to us. And by the way, we're going to monitor our progression of Parkinson's and B1 therapy, whatever.
Does it have to be a
And yes,
neurologist?
it would give a lot of feedback too. I mean, we need more than that Parkinson's scale to see if we're making a difference.
Does it need to be a neurologist, or can just a regular doctor do that for us?
No,
No,
I think we need a neurologist.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing I would say, Donna, I know it's cumbersome just to enter your
Right.
opinion of your symptoms, but we will never be able to do anything to prove anything through this study. That's really not our goal. It's just to see if local people doing this as a community can see improvement in their health and then share that with this funder who may pay for real researchers to do the data.
All right.
To do a clinical trial and set it up
Exactly.
appropriately. Like, we'd have to give them our background, how we were diagnosed with Parkinson's. If we take the new bio,
They may not even want to use people from this study. They may want to start fresh with people.
Yeah, I
who
think
haven't
that's
done B1.
that's the best. They're gonna have to start from the very scratch with people. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, if we can look
If
at,
we have a goal here, it's more to continue to convince someone that this is worth looking into, but our data is probably not what they're going to use for a study.
correct.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Correct.
Just a couple comments. I think it's Strive, STRIV, as in Victor, EPD, Strive PD, not stride, not like step. But anyway, I found that was it's www.strive.group is what I found. But the other comment I have is we need to kind of find a balance point between having enough information coming out of what we share versus something that's too onerous to keep up every day. And the Unified Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale, it's good, but it's very comprehensive, and it might be more than one or more of us can keep up with on a daily basis. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. That if we can come to a kind of a middle ground that has we can say there's a certain number of criteria that we want to take a look at. Some of us have different manifestations of things. I have my left-handed tremor, my left foot tremor, and that's the worst of what I have. And that would be what I'd like to see some improvement on versus, some of the other things here are not as, I have some of them, but they're all in the lower end of the rating scale there. So, that's my situation. It's not everybody's situation. So
Yeah,
I don't know, Dick, what do you think about that?
I felt the same way. And what I was meaning to say in looking at the Unified Parkinson's Disease Rating Scales, that we could maybe cherry pick some of the criteria that pertains to us individually.
Okay.
Because everybody's going to experience something different.
Yeah.
And everybody's, like you said, Ed, everybody's got different symptoms that they are more inclined to want to deal with than something else. So I wasn't suggesting using the whole thing, but just cherry picking certain
Okay.
criteria that is meaningful to us and to our group.
Okay.
And then feeding that into coming up with our own format of recording it.
Mm-hmm. And
I think if
Christine,
we use this spreadsheet,
Yeah.
you can print it out. You can just write, no change today, but next to a symptom, or document it. But the reason I think it's kind of important is that I don't want people to go beyond the sweet spot. So I think if we're careful in documenting and try not to get too greedy, as Dick said, then everyone will be in a better place. And that's really my goal. And I can send new spreadsheets for every month. You tell me what symptoms you'd like to track. I think
Okay.
mental health and overall well-being is probably a really good one for everyone.
Yep.
But
And then,
beyond that, I can personalize it.
And then in the back of her book too, let me grab that. I don't know if you noticed this, but in the back of her book, if you got the book handy, let me quickly find it and tell you what page it's on. Yeah, it starts on page of the book. Page starts on page. Looks like it starts on page 77 of the book. Symptom improvements when using B1. There's quite a few suggestions there, and what I did, is I just put an X next, or a tick next to the ones that I saw improvement on. But there's just some good ideas there too. So just take a look at that, and maybe that might give you some ideas as to what you can use for your own criteria.
What page was that, Dick, again?
Page 77.
77.
Yeah, this is nice. It's very
Yeah.
hopeful.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like using that. I mean, it's simple.
Mhm.
Yes, it improved. No, it didn't improve.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a
and
good-
Dick shared with me, the guy who put together this spreadsheet that I'll base my work on. And it's not like you're on a perfect upward trajectory in symptom improvement. There appears to be days when you're just having a bad day and it's not good, but it's important that you track the trend line, because if you're starting to see downward trends in the things that you're tracking, you're probably exceeding the sweet spot. So that's what we hope to do in reviewing the data.
So this progression of increasing dosages, for those of you who have started, if we maintain a dose for 4 weeks, so that's a month at an initial dosage, and then we increase somewhat another month. How many months? I haven't read the book yet, but how many months do we expect it to take to see improvement?
Again, I think that's an individual thing. I think some people might start seeing improvements after a month or two, but it may take 3 to 4 months before you start really appreciating it too. So it's an individual thing. The key here, what I've learned from my own experience and from reading and studying more, is start low and go slow.
Okay.
And I started high and went fast. And
Well, thanks for checking that off for us. We know not to do
yeah,
that.
we don't want to do that. So go start low and go slow.
Okay.
I found a book online too that's been helpful for me on the other edge of that tracking, and it has to do with tracking the amount of B1 that you're taking. I tried my own spreadsheets for a while and thought this was close to what I needed. It is basically tracking the amount of vitamin B1 that you're taking, and 1 page is a week. I mean, you just write down if you're maybe have antibiotics too. I think it's important to keep track of what else you're taking at the same time. So it's a lot simpler. It's just pretty clear. But anyway, I thought that this was a good resource.
Gloria, could you send me some information on that, and then I'll pass it along to the group?
Sure.
Okay.
And I think Daphne said to take videos of yourself once a month, or I forget how many. But if we save videos over the course of our discussion, that might be another way. I don't know if videos can be embedded in spreadsheets, but that's another way.
Yeah. All right, then I've got any other questions right now?
I had a question, Dick. You said it's in Daphne's book. If you do go, if you think you overdosed, you have to go completely off for a certain period of time, right? What are the specifications if you do overdose? What do you have to do then to recover and start over?
As I said, I stopped cold turkey.
I mean, she
I'm
says
not recommending we do that. If someone starts to feel they're overdosing, I would just reverse the process. start backing off on your dosage amounts and just, say back off by 250 milligrams or 100 milligrams or whatever. And then slowly go backwards until the symptoms of overdosing are gone.
She actually says you have to stop cold turkey for a certain number of weeks, I think. She
Yeah,
has
well,
a protocol in there for if you overdose, this is what you have to do. And it sounds bad because you have to stop everything and then restart.
restart all over again. Yeah, and I think I went through some withdrawal too. Let me check into that then too. So by the 15th we'll have
If you
a
overdose, what do we do? And how long does it take to get back? And
yeah.
it sounds like from your experience, Dick, you didn't start right back in at where your sweet spot was.
I didn't know where my sweet spot was.
Okay, so you didn't know when you started to overdose.
No.
And that's that's our goal.
It hit me very quickly.
Yeah.
But I have no idea where my sweet spot was because I was not doing a good job of recording it.
But you knew when you started to feel better.
Yeah, but I don't know what dosage I was at.
Ah,
Better within 3 days, I think you told me at one point or something
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think Gloria has a really good point about antibiotics, or heaven forbid you get a cold or the flu. Document that to see if the therapy is less effective or better than previous illnesses that you've had, those sorts of things.
yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, the stopping cold was hard on me. And
But
then
that's what that says. If you overdose, you have to stop for so many weeks, or I forget what she said in there.
well, maybe for some of you who are on the Facebook page already, maybe you can do some research on that and come forward with some suggestions of
I'll
what
do
other
that. Yeah,
of what other people have done, how they handled it.
because she does have a protocol of how to handle when you overdose.
Yeah.
It would just be
And she's-
good to hear what other people have experienced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be that stopping cold is the best way to do it. It's not enjoyable. And I think probably one of the biggest frustrations is that when I started back up again, I'm in a hurry to get back to feeling good again. So let's just see if you can find some answers to that, and I'll do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, the
Hey,
other thing,
Dick, why don't you share with the group how we both heard back from Daphne after that initial call? Remember
We
when you
did?
received an email?
Oh yeah, I got a long, lengthy email from her and from Sergio, wanting us to interface with them over there with what we're doing. And I haven't gotten that far into getting ready to start this thing and to pursue that and figure out how we would do that. But I think somebody must have contacted her or, said something on the Facebook group that we were doing this and gave them my contact information. And I think what I'll do is I will forward that email to everybody, just so we're all reading and looking at the same thing.
And I can forward the one she sent to the Parkinson Foundation, Western Pennsylvania. I mean, we're talking within hours of that Zoom call.
it's a small world. It's a small world.
Yeah. Yeah, someone from that phone call, I'm guessing it was the Van Lars, must have gotten a hold of her to do that.
Can I just ask everyone to go around and say how long you've had Parkinson's and what I'm interested in tremor dominant versus not tremor. Vicky has no tremors. And it's very hard to read her symptoms because tremor is instantaneous. It's the same with DBS. Setting for tremor in DBS is easy because they can see what stops it and what doesn't. But if you're non-tremor dominant, it's very hard to judge what DBS is doing or what any kind of therapy is doing. It takes days to determine, to read, so I just wondered how many people have had Parkinson's a long time or not, and seeing how it helps people at various stages of Parkinson's too as a result of us going through this.
Sure. Why don't we start up in the left-hand corner, Jim?
Paul's in my left-hand corner.
Mine too.
All right. My name's Jim Steele. I've had it for Parkinson's for about 10 years. I get tremor on my left hand, left foot, left leg, and rigidity is one of my main issues. I used to be a pilot and I have these retired captain buddies that still go up in low airplanes, and it's not a pretty sight watching Jim trying to get in a low airplane because it's so tight and confined, and it's like a 10-minute process. So rigidity is one of my bigger items that I'm fighting.
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. Okay.
But my left hand was my flying hand, so I had to quit flying once I got the Parkinson's diagnosis.
All right, well, I was officially diagnosed about 3 years ago. Prior to that, I pretty much made up my mind about a year before that I had Parkinson's. I had been working, I was working at the Oxford Athletic Club, and I worked with the group of folks who had Parkinson's that came into Oxford to do the Rocksteady boxing program. That's how I got connected with Jim, and I saw myself, how I felt, how I was moving, how I was thinking in them, and shared their stories with me. And I was pretty well convinced that I had it. I was in denial for quite a while. I blamed my back for my issues. But the main issues that I had were rigidity, muscle stiffness, muscle soreness, and fatigue. And, with just the basic levodopa, I was able to deal with that. And so I do have a little bit of a tremor. Sleep was a big problem, sleep disorder, not able to sleep at all. And we resolved that. So I'm fairly steady right now. I've got a big background in fitness and exercise, so that came naturally to me to stay physically active. And so I'm sure that's helping me slow the progress right now.
Are you left-handed, Dick?
No, I'm right-handed.
But you said your tremor was left side too?
It's on my left side, yeah.
Yep, left side tremor. Okay.
Okay, Paul?
Yes, my name's Paul DePaula. I had diagnosed in 2016. I had some pressure in my right shoulder. I thought that might be my rotator cuff, but the sports medical doctors told me to go see a neurologist. I'm right-handed, and I had right-hand tremor. I now have in my right foot in the evenings, mostly at night. I suffer from rigidity and a sleep disorder as well. So I was wondering, Dick, if does this help with dyskinesia? If so, during your process, did you decrease your sentiment at any time? Your sentiment, did you decrease it?
I was able to decrease this summer. I was able to decrease my carbidopa levodopa by about one pill per day.
Okay. 100 milligram pill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's important too, the amount of sentiment you're taking, and really monitor that. Because I believe in my heart that carbidopa levodopa is not the answer. It's creating all the problems. But my sister doesn't agree with that, though. Everybody with Parkinson's, that's their rescue drug. But yeah, dyskinesias are a big problem for Vicky, and it's a result of long-term Sinemet use or overdose. And if you have DBS, it could be overstimulation too, causing dyskinesias. So it's a big problem.
Yeah.
But I think if on your spreadsheet, Christine, are you monitoring how much Sinemet you're able to take, or no? Just symptoms. Oh.
Christine, you're still on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's a great point. We'll have dosage of B1, dosage of carbidopa levodopa. Anything else we need to track?
Well, there's a lot of other medicines you could.
I would think anything that you're taking, it would be worth putting on there.
So maybe I'll just leave a space at the bottom to list your current meds and dosages.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and any other alternative supplements or procedures you're following that you have found that work for you. Like for me, I know what works well for me is MCT oil in my coffee with liquid turmeric. That really helps clear up my brain in the morning. Gets rid of most of the brain fog.
What MCT oil are you taking in your coffee, Dick? I like MCT.
Coconut oil.
I mean, oh, you put coconut oil in. You don't buy a coffee that has it in it.
No,
Like
I just brew my coffee and put a tablespoon of coconut oil in it, and I buy this electric turmeric because the turmeric has the ability to break through the blood-brain barrier and deliver the nutrients to the brain.
And it has black pepper extract in it.
The turmeric does, yeah. Okay, Gloria.
I've probably been diagnosed about 2 years now. Again, I like you, Dick. I had it narrowed down that I thought that's what was going on. My first issues were actually having problems with falling forward when I was really tired. I would be out for a hike for a mile or two, and I would just get so tired that I couldn't stop my feet from moving. I couldn't make myself stop. I'd start falling forward, like fascination issues. That's what scared me into getting to see a doctor. I guess fatigue is the biggest problem I have living a life that I just never know what I'm going to get hit with, the day that I just have no energy at all. I have some balance issues. Been working out with a program at the Y, and just the physical activity helped a lot. I had knee surgery too, so I wasn't sure if it was my knee or my balance that was keeping me from playing ping pong or dancing or doing those sorts of things. So I'm fairly able to be independent. Thank goodness for my husband. He likes to drive me everywhere. So he comes and exercises too, and it works out well. But the exercise has really been good for us both. But it's been a nightmare just trying to get everything logged. There are just so many variables that it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, Carol.
I was diagnosed in 2019, and initially my symptoms were my legs shaking. If I were sitting, my knees would go back and forth, and my thighs and buttocks would not cramp, but be tight, as if I was trying to sit high, and I was really trying not to. And I'd calm myself down, and pretty soon if I thought about something else again, I'd be all tense. So it was just that sense of what you're describing is movement you weren't asking for. But over time then, but maybe 6 months before I started any kind of medication, and I was kind of going downhill with stiffness, slowness, Parkinson's shuffle, and balance. Balance was hard for me. Like if I couldn't stand still, I'd be tipping. So I'd walk around catching myself or lean against the counter when I'm cooking. But the Cinemet, when I started it, probably 6 months in, it was summer then of 2020. We tried it to see if it would help, particularly with the balance was my biggest complaint, and it did. So I'm a huge Cinemet fan, at least so far. It really helped me. Still on a minimum dosage of it.
How frequently
But
do you take it, Carol?
sorry, go ahead.
How frequently do you take it?
3 times a day, 1 pill, and 1.5 at lunchtime, because I was struggling with fatigue. I'd eat lunch and be, napping in the chair. That helped a little. But recently, within the last few months, I have started with hand tremors, and it mostly bothers me sleeping, honestly. It goes wacky while I'm sleeping and wakes me up, and having some pain sleeping too, just discomfort everywhere. And I was thinking about suggesting at my next visit, maybe I should be upping my Cinemet, because the tremors are annoying. And it occurs to me though that I think I won't. I think I'll, go forward with this if we're going to start this in January. I'd rather see, like only change one variable. I think I I'd rather see if this does anything for my tremors. I'm able to function. But I won't change my medication if I can help it, and just see what this does.
Good. Yeah, good idea. Donna, Vicky?
Well, we're sisters, and we haven't had the gene test done. But Vicky's developed Parkinson's in 2000, right? That's right. Yeah, for 23 years. I think we'd probably get the prize on this call. And she had DBS in 2010. And when she's a doctor, she's an endocrinologist, and she had to retire because of that. But she knew a lot too. And she did like everybody else. You don't want to say you have Parkinson's. You want to keep working, and all that stuff. But when it gets to the point that you're taking 8 Cinemet pills a day, it becomes unmanageable. I'll just warn everybody, because it interferes with eating. You have to, if you're taking pills 3 hours apart, you can only take pills a half hour before eating or 2 hours after eating. So if you have a 3-hour window, you can imagine there's a half hour where you can eat and get finished, maybe. And you have to watch what you eat with not a lot of protein. And long-term Cinemet causes these dyskinesias. And you're just battling everything. So Vicky's had a lot of symptoms, but not tremor. She's had dyskinesias now, but it was a result. Her dyskinesias have never been really bad till this last programming session, which is surprising me. But so we've had it very long, and Vicky has postural issues. Her neck is to one side because the DBS is installed in her chest, so her head pulls down this side. But with one setting, it came up. So we have a lot of variables going on. She has drooling lately, and luckily she still has her marbles, so she has all her cognitive function. So I mean, it's been grueling, but I'm determined to find a cause. And lately I think I'm starting maybe developing symptoms. I mean, the caretakers, you're in the same environment, so you're wondering, was she exposed to chemicals in this? You wonder if you're going to get it, and it's in our family. My mother died of ALS. My dad died of COPD, but he had some tremor in his hands. And his sister did too, so they may have a touch of Parkinson's. But we've tried a lot of things. Vicky's been on the forefront of all these new medicines. So right now she's only on Cinemet and amantadine to stop the dyskinesias, but she finds that doesn't stop dyskinesias. It boosts the effect of Cinemet. But we've had it for a very long time, so we're kind of looking at ways to increase her. But Vicky's been a trooper. Things we've gotten better, and then we get worse, but we want to do anything that we can to increase exercise. So, and I'm controlled diet. We're on the MIND diet or whatever. We haven't gone vegan. Some people have gotten over Parkinson's going carnivore. I'm keeping track of the people that I hear about that have beat Parkinson's just to study them, to see what they're doing. And so far, I found one guy that's really kind of interesting, Ron Ressler, that he beat it going carnivore. And the other interesting subject that beat Parkinson's is Howard Shifke in his book. But I'm looking at the people that have beat it, and it's mainly through mind control and breathing techniques. So you got to incorporate, besides B1 therapy, mind control, meditation, reducing anxiety, and your breathing. Breathing is so important. And they developed a tool that detects Parkinson's by how you breathe at night. And if you have your spouse listen to how you're breathing, from Vicky's breathing at night, it's like an inhale and then a quick exhale. All Parkinson's people seem to collapse in the chest. So anything you can do to open your chest up and keep your shoulder blades back. Everybody can sit up real straight right now. Don't slouch. So, I'm studying because I'm going to find a cure. I'm going to beat this thing. So we're going to try B1, but we've tried a lot, and we could give advice to people that are considering DBS, or we can give our experiences, because I'm an electrical engineer. She's a doctor. So we're studying the research.
Good. Ed?
Hi. I think started manifesting some symptoms in 2019. I was diagnosed in 2020. I ended up retiring in 2021 because I was working as a IT project manager for BNY Mellon, and the stress of that was just too much with working remotely during COVID and trying to work in a new company and new team and new industry and deal with Parkinson's symptoms. So I bailed from that in 2021. The My primary symptom is tremor on my left side, which I am left-handed, so that really stinks because eating and different things that you're used to doing with your dominant hand just really is difficult. I find that getting to sleep at night is a problem. Dick and I have talked about, sleeping with your hand clenched fist under your pillow and all that kind of stuff and I do a lot of mind over matter kind of breathing exercises and things to try to help with that. I had hip replacement surgery in July, and I was having such a problem sleeping with that that I ended up talking to Dr. Licklider's office, and I got a timed release version of Cinemet that I take at night that is buffered, so it spreads out the effects of it. It's a 200 milligram levodopa, 100 milligram carbidopa versus the normal 50-100, I think, that they usually prescribe. So I take that at night and still take the regular dose during the day. I'm on 4 of the regular dose during the day and 1 of those at night. Um, that's it. I do have a few some of the light symptoms of the other things like the drooling at night and some things like that. It's funny, I've read several things about uh, things to help with Parkinson's, and several of them have said, well, because it's a movement disorder primarily, then you only have to worry about this during the daytime. Well, I have to worry about it at night because that's when it most aggravating to me is trying to get to sleep and stay asleep and get back to sleep if I wake up in the middle of the night. So anyway, enough about me.
And Sally?
Hi, I was just diagnosed in June of this year. I don't have any shakes or anything. I just can't talk sometimes. I have trouble talking sometimes. And I have trouble projecting my voice. So I'm kind of new to this. I'm on 3 pills a day, and I think that would help. That was helping. I don't know what comes next, though.
Christine, could you continue the moderation? I got to take care of an issue out here in my front hall. I think my dog is dying to take a pee. I gotta let him out the door. I'll be right back.
Sure. Sally, you mentioned you're today that you're seeing signs of additional stiffness.
Yeah, or
Inability
it's
to
old age. I don't
squat.
know which, but yeah,
Yeah, okay,
just squatting is very difficult right now.
right.
So
Although we have a lot of pickleball players on this call. And Tim, how about you next?
Well, my name is Tim Carrera. I'm 69 and was diagnosed in April. It's still hard to, come to grips with, frankly. But I go to the Y about 5 days or 6 days a week.
good for you.
That's great.
I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up.
Understand.
I just need to commend both Sally and Tim because I've been around a lot of folks with PD and it's very rare to see people react and engage as quickly as the two of you have. And I applaud that. No denial, no hiding it keeping it a secret from people, and that's a very brave way to attack this disease.
Well, it's hard, certainly. I was given the medication. I haven't taken it yet, though. I really don't want to.
Tim, that you'll hear so often that everybody's different, you know, and so I say this as a follow-up to that, but I'm going to just tell you what was helpful to me. I didn't want to take medication. I figured it was bad enough having to deal with I have Parkinson's without starting to take meds that were going to do funny things. And I was, and my Dr. Susky was supportive of that. She's like, one thing at a time, whenever you're comfortable or whenever you feel like you need it. So I went through, that was that first 6 months. And what I found was, and this, you know, this could pertain to other people too, or it might just be me, but when I started the medication, that's when my exercising really started to help. I was exercising, and sometimes I couldn't make the pedals go around on a stationary bike. It was so defeating. But when I took the medication, somehow it connected, and then exercise started to make me feel stronger, like you would think it would, but it didn't before. So if you ever, you know, make that decision to start on medication, I certainly hope that you have the same experience, because I mean, I didn't even talk this fast. And, you know, just this would have taken a lot longer. But it really did. It helped, and it helped the exercise help. So, you know.
I know everybody keeps telling me what am I waiting for, but
Well, when you're ready. But just one story to put in your bag.
And I would agree with you that if you can get your exercise up and limit it to 3 times a day, it's great. It's because you have to do aerobic exercise. And one of the best give me hope and everybody hope is when Christine, you guys have Alex Tressor gives his Friday morning class. He's had Parkinson's for what, 13 or 16 years. He still takes 3 pills a day. And his exercise class, it's based on dance, but there's a lot of guys that take it. He does it aerobically. He doesn't treat you like a juvenile, you know. But I mean, that exercise program, he has Parkinson's and he's teaching the class, and he shows you what to do to maintain your strength and endurance. You have to maintain breath and strength. And his exercise class does that. It's Fridays at 10. I want to give a handout to PFWPA that they connected us all with him. And it's a great class to take. And you'll get hope, because he doesn't even look like he has Parkinson's after 13 years, but he's gone after a hard exercise and diet. You have to go after that hard. Newly diagnosed people, go after it hard. He has a website called PD on the Move, and he goes over his diet and exercise program. Everybody's individual, but just reading his story gives you hope. Diet and exercise. You'll get through it. You won't have to, you know. They don't tell everybody that. When Vicky was diagnosed, they didn't tell anything. They just said, and you saw progress with the pills, and you don't worry about diet and exercise. You keep eating sugar and high fat and whatever. It's no good.
I might add it, if you can remove any sort of stress in your life, that helps too.
Yeah. Oh, that's hard. Yeah.
I mentioned I used to be a pilot. I fly radio control airplanes now, and if I ever crash an airplane into a big tree, my hand starts going like crazy just from the stress of being in a situation like that. So
you got to build your toolbox of your stress reducers. Like I play solitaire. You know, just have a toolbox that you could go to. Oh, I'm anxious. I'm going to maintain this breathing technique. Something.
Yeah. I have horses, and I used to love riding, but Jim, to your point, like my comment to people is I don't get anxious well. I mean, I'm not anxious often, but it's not good.
That reminds me just to share with you that, when I was on the B1 therapy this summer, and Jim knows this, that there was a very stressful summer for me with some family issues, and not once did I feel blown away with anxiety while I was on the right in that
Ah,
good amount of vitamin B1. It really helped me deal with those issues.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Evie, you're on mute. There we go.
Okay, there. Sorry. I've been listening and then finally I realized I could turn my volume up. So I've heard the last few things you've said. My name is E.B. Emmons and I was diagnosed in July of 2020. I think I had with a I had a tremor in my right foot first. And I complained to my doctor and saw a neurologist and they said, no, doesn't look like anything. And then I fell out of bed a year later and broke my collarbone. And it was it was a sort of disrupted sleep, acting out dreams. And that made me pretty sure I needed to go back. And I went back to the Movement Disorders Center at UPMC and they said, yeah, we think you have mild Parkinson's. And, my tremors weren't extreme. And they did suggest that I go on the levodopa carbidopa right away. And I did. And I take one pill, 1.5, 3 times a day. And it was initially actually one pill. It started out on one and it was sort of helpful, but not dramatic. And they said, well, it should be dramatic. And I upped it a little bit and it really I don't have tremor anymore unless I get really extended, forget my dose and get very tired. Sometimes the tremor comes back a little bit, but, and other symptoms, I have this orthostatic hypotension thing, which goes way back. And I didn't even really know to connect that with anything, but I do think it's something it's been around for probably 5 or 6 years. So I drink a lot and I'm pretty careful. And I have discovered that exercise is super helpful for me. I was active anyway, but at some point, well, maybe in 2020, about a year after my diagnosis, I joined a dragon boating team. And that's just been really, it's, 3 practices a week on the water in the good weather and then in the workout in the winter. And it just feels great. So, but not every day is great. And I do have fatigue. And what else? I worry. I have a lot of, I guess you'd call it anxiety. I worry about my health more than I think my health warrants me to worry about it or whatever. And also I've discovered a lovely PT center through the foundation, which Christine knows, I guess that it's called To Life. And I've been doing a program there where we do machines for 30 minutes, 2 times a week. And they have some other classes too. And really trying to get your heart rate up and stuff. So it's more serious, disciplined exercise than I've ever done before. And it's really great that it helps. So, and I did also come upon the B1 thing it was somehow Daphne Bryan was interviewed by a French guy, I think. Might have been through the Albert Finney Foundation. And so I bought that book and I read it and I started it just about 2 weeks ago. I started on, I told Dick this morning, but I started on the sublingual thing 3 days a week, 100 milligrams.
Have you noticed anything?
I think I do. I think I feel more energetic and just more settled.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I'm maybe sleeping a bit better too.
We're talking about the exercise thing, for 30 some years, that was my profession. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
often quoted as saying, if we could take the benefits of physical activity and put it in a pill, it'd be the most
Right.
widely prescribed prescription in the
Right.
world.
Right, right. Well, as I understand it, it's really the only thing that they think does truly
Slow the progression.
slow the progression of the
Yeah,
disease.
yeah.
So,
It's
yeah,
interesting because one of the reasons that makes it tough to do research on
right.
B1 therapy is
Oh.
because, and I'm just learning this, I've heard it now from several neurologists, but apparently the PD community is far more prone to react to a placebo than any other community.
Oh,
And,
really? Huh.
and so my point back to them is like, great, so what? Let
Yeah.
them react to the placebo. Like,
I know, I'm
there's
just like,
no
put me in a
danger.
trial.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of writing about brain plasticity and what you can do to keep the brain active and growing and making new connections. So, yeah, placebo may be one route to that. Yeah,
Give
I
me a
agree.
placebo, I'd be happy.
Right, but what the heck, the real thing may be worth it too. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Dick, do you
I
want
saw
to
a
talk?
doctor.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Evie.
I just saw a doctor today and I was telling her about a new, primary care person. And I was telling her about the B1 and she works in a clinic where they see lots of immigrants and refugees from in populations that don't eat very much meat. And they prescribe a lot of B1 there, thiamine, for those
wow.
people, which I thought was interesting. I think
Yeah.
that maybe they document the deficiency. I mean, I haven't even had my B1 tested. It's probably something that might be good for us to ask for. Even though they do say that it's not necessarily a deficiency, that it's helpful.
Right.
Even anyway, even if you don't have one. Yeah.
Well, there's some of the stuff I've read is that they feel that the reason B1 works well for people with Parkinson's is that certainly certain functions of the brain rely upon vitamin B1 to perform properly.
Yeah.
And that if there's a deficiency someplace, then that could be the reason why the vitamin B1 is effective for helping people with Parkinson's. Another theory that I'm thinking about looking at is that it seems like the most common relief that people have received from taking the B1 is increase in energy. And we all know that if we have an increase in energy, we feel better.
Absolutely.
If we have an increase in energy, we will think better. If we have an increase in energy, we'll go work out better and more consistently. So I think there's a connection there, but that's the reason why we're pursuing this clinical stuff.
Hey Dick, will you talk a little bit, please, about your recommended delivery mechanism for the B1 and where people can get it?
Yeah. It's pretty simple. And I know that Evie just said she is doing the sublingual. This is the brand that it's called Superior Source. The B1 sublingual tablet.
Yeah, that's
the only one you can find. It's the only one I can find, but I got it through Amazon.
It's in the book.
Yeah, this is the one
I
that
ordered it from the place that she
Yeah,
designates.
it's on Amazon as well.
Right.
And this is the same product that Daphne Bryant is using.
Right.
Elliot Overton, who has done a lot of the videos and studies on the B1, he's got a couple other brand or types of vitamin B1 that he is suggesting, the benfotiamine and the TDFD. Daphne has downplayed the effectiveness of the benfotiamine because she said it doesn't doesn't get into the brain as well as some other forms. And the TTFD is very expensive and hard to come by. So in my opinion, it just depends on what you want to do and how you want to handle it. Do you want to take pills? Do you want to do the sublingual?
One thing I
think
like
the thing to remember, I'm sorry, Evie, but the thing to remember about pills is that often you have a gastrointestinal issue.
Right.
So you already have trouble getting your meds through your system. So sublingual will be much more effective.
It wasn't clear also how whether you need a lot higher dose with the tablets.
HCL, yeah.
So I thought that seemed like a nice way to, yeah.
If I had to do it over again from the very beginning, I would go sublingual.
Mhm.
But right now I'm sticking with the pills, at least until I find my sweet spot, and then I'll play around with it some more after that. But
Right.
there's plenty of choices when it comes to the B1 sub, or the tablets, the HCL kind. Again, you can get them at vitamin shop stores. You can get it at on Amazon. There is one that is fairly cost effective. It comes in a big bag. It's more bulk, and I got that on Amazon too. Let me just find it quickly.
Amy, do you take a B complex and magnesium, or what else do you take besides?
I take vitamin D, which it goes back a long time, and I take fish oil, omega. And I did. What did I get this fight? When I first heard about, before I read the book, I did buy a vitamin B complex, and I started taking it daily, and I took it for about a week, and that even made me feel better. But I stopped it when I started the sublingual. So I think I might add it back again, because I noticed that Daphne said she thought that when you added in the other parts of the vitamin B complex, that gave extra support to the whole thing. But I was kind of taking her word as law, I guess. I mean,
2 additional supplements that I have found many of the people recommend is a B complex.
Is it? Okay.
And a little bit of magnesium to help the body absorb it.
I had been taking magnesium for sleep for a good while.
Yeah.
I haven't been lately. But
I take a
It
powder
also helps
magnesium.
with cramps.
uh-huh.
Magnesium.
Yeah.
One
What I
thing
will
to
do is
remember though, with multivitamins or B complex vitamins, you can overdose on B6. And apparently B6 is added into a lot of supplements. So make sure that you're not taking too much B6.
Okay, right.
If any of you have any questions, conflicts, or need more information about what form you want to take, just get a hold of me individually, and I'll help you as best as I possibly can.
I would strongly recommend reading the book too.
Get the book and read through it.
It's very palpable. I mean, she answers a lot of questions.
And the beauty of the book is that you're going to want to keep it handy and use it as a reference as you progress through your taking the therapy.
Right.
And if we haven't started, we kind of want to hold hands and start together in January then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dick, would you mind forwarding to Sally the emails and videos that you have shared with the rest of the group? Thank you.
Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
What I want to do too is that starting in the new year, I would like to have a meeting like this, like maybe once every 4 or 5 weeks, just for everybody to get together and share their journey, share their concerns, share their successes, and just get together collectively as a group of people on the same track, sharing ideas and sharing what their experiences have been. So I think what I'll do is, by the middle of January, I think I'll just send out a calendar to everybody, like a 3-month calendar for January, February, March, and April, as to when the meetings would be scheduled, and I'll coordinate that with Christine.
Great.
One thing that
I'm going to say goodbye. May I say goodbye, because I have to go to a funeral, but thank you so much. And I made Donna and Dick co-hosts, so when I sign off, the meeting should continue.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, Christine.
One thing that I try to keep remembering about this therapy is that we're not just doing it for ourselves. And that if this will open the door for us to do a clinical study that's accepted by the medical community, the benefits of the B1 therapy are going to be spread to thousands of people because the doctors then will feel confident in recommending it to them and proceeding with it. So I always keep that in mind, that I'm not doing this just for myself. I'm doing it for others to help them in their journey in coming up with ways to live a better quality of life with Parkinson's. And for the way I felt this past summer, it definitely helped me live a higher quality of life during that period of time.
Mhm.
We got that. We talked about the evaluation form. Oh, yeah, and just make sure everybody has run this by your neurologist to let he or she know that you are pursuing this therapy. And I
Does
think that's
anybody
pretty,
here go to a movement disorder center for their Parkinson's?
pardon me?
I was wondering if everybody goes to a movement disorder center.
Yeah.
There's only
I
two in
do.
Pittsburgh, UPMC and Allegheny General, but is everybody seeing a movement disorder neurologist?
Yep.
Yes,
So I see, Vicky sees Dr. Susky,
so do
Me
I.
too.
Me too.
and do the rest of, and you too?
Yes.
Mhm.
So I think we've run it by her. She says she does, she's not endorsing, but she said it shouldn't be any harmful because you pee out B1. But and then
Well, the beauty of it is that B1 is a water soluble vitamin. So, it's not, you might have some overdosing symptoms like I had, but it's nothing that's going to affect you. It's not going to impact your health. Because the nature of a water soluble vitamin, which like vitamin C is that the body will use what it needs at that particular point in time.
Flush the
And
rest.
then whatever it doesn't need, it'll flush it out through urine, through perspiration, through respiration. And that's something I may want to add too. As we get into this and you're taking your dosages of vitamin B1 throughout the day, I like to spread it out. So I take my first vitamin B1s at 6 in the morning, and I take my last one at about 7 o'clock at night. So I spread it out evenly throughout the day so that there's a constant flow of B1 going into my system versus getting a bunch of it once and then the body using a little bit of that and then getting rid of the rest of it. I think by dosing it throughout the day, spreading it out, you'll get a constant flow of the benefits of it coming into your body.
do you suggest that we have our B12 and B1 levels tested before we start?
That's a personal choice. I don't have an opinion on that.
Vicky plans to do that. It's kind of hard to get your PCP to do a B1 test. Not many people test B1.
Yeah, I haven't even asked. I don't really feel like I need to. Gloria, what was the name of that reference that you talked about? You held up the book again.
Navigating Parkinson's.
All right, and will you send me the link for that, please?
I will.
Okay.
The author? Do you have the name of the author?
It's here. Eric Garcia.
Thank you.
And I know that Evie, you mentioned that video of that being in a front. I think that was on No Silver Bullet for PD. They have a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, that might be right.
Yeah, and that group out of the UK is really good, and everybody can go to their and see their past videos. There's another video on there by it was maybe a year or two ago by Bernstein, and he discusses carbidopa. And he discusses a novel approach that no one's ever looked at, that we've been using carbidopa for 70 years. And I just found that fascinating what he said, because I don't think carbidopa ever went through clinical trials or a lot of testing before it was given. I know it helps, and he has a novel approach. If anybody wants to look at that, I'm kind of following that as a side note, that he may be having a novel approach to getting this thing fixed.
Oh. Yeah, I think you're right. No silver bullet is where that video was.
Yeah, no silver
Right, no
bullet.
This
silver
came
bullet,
to
yeah.
me because I guess I'd been looking at other things, so
Right,
suddenly,
And
you
that's a
know,
good one. I find a lot of interesting stuff. They have like the queue. That's what's going on kind of in Europe before it gets to the States, because a lot of things don't get through the FDA. Like
That's
the trial on Ambroxol's another very interesting thing that looks very promising to detox the brain of folded alpha-synuclein.
Hmm.
And it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and it's in I think a phase 3 trial. But I'm waiting to hear the results of that. So there's 2 study, things on Ambroxol that was on that study, and Dr. Bernstein
okay, good.
looking at.
Hey, Dick, have you seen in your studies where this could help people with multiple sclerosis also?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Okay, we good? Anybody have more questions, concerns?
I just wondered if we could pass out everybody's emails and we could create a group list and we can email each other.
I think, have we not emailed you the contact list?
No.
I thought I'd email that out.
I don't think I saw that either.
All right, I'll email it out. I'm gonna make a few corrections to some people's email addresses, but I'll email that out to you, either later today or sometime tomorrow.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
so we can like even catch.
We just lost Vicky. What happened here? Donna's frozen.
I think it's just Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, thank you, Dick.
All right, if anybody has any questions, comments, or whatever, just send me an email or give me a call. You've got my phone number, you've got my email address, and we should be good.
Thanks.
Good to
Thank
meet
you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Talk
Bye-bye.
to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jesus.